It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the world, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here. Breaking news overnight. Both China and the United States have agreed to drop reciprocal tariffs because they're negotiating. That's really what it is, right?
Basically, that's it for 90 days. It's a drastic cut in the tariffs that were on both sides. And so now it's the focus is going to be what gets done on Capitol Hill, I think, in the short term for the president. And can you extend those tax cuts? You know, the point being brought up that, well, you know, should there be the editorial board talking about, you know, focusing on what you focus on, and if they're looking to make these permanent, well, is permanent in their mind 2028? Because that's not permanent. You know, if you keep putting this sunset provision on these, you're going to have to deal with them at some point again. And, you know, the question is politically, what can they actually get done? And what will they get done? I don't think any of the fiscal conservatives will be happy in the end, but I haven't had confidence in that since the beginning, really since the continuing resolution debacle. You know, basically stand down fiscal conservatives. You can fight your fight later, and we're at this later point now. And I just don't expect it to change. I don't expect. I don't know what a Chip Roy would get. Any concessions that a Chip Roy, he's not going to be happy with most of it, I suspect. But the fiscal conservatives, what do they get, if anything? And I don't know what that would look like. I don't know that anybody does. I think that tells you how much of a mess it is right now. Because they, you know, it's a lot like with Obamacare in 2016, we're going to gut Obamacare and do away with it. And then 2017, well, we can't do away with it. We can only do away with the funding mechanism of it. And that's pretty much where they left it. And now, the same with, you know, Doge. The numbers have changed. I don't think we're going to get real cuts. I don't think it'll be $100 billion in real cuts. I don't think it will be any real cuts at all. I think in the end, we're going to end up spending more money, and they'll do what we've seen before over and over again. We're going to use these cuts to pay for this. Well, those aren't cuts. You're finding a payment mechanism, and that's all you're doing. So I don't see much, beyond that.
You and I were talking about the fact that nothing on Doge over the last few days. You don't hear anything on it anymore.
Nothing.
And we've said one of the reasons we believe is because they realize they can't really make any cuts. Right. And the public can put two and two together.
Yep.
All we heard about the first 3 months was these unbelievable cuts, and we're saving trillions of dollars. And, oh, my gosh, we're going to be giving checks to everybody, you know, $5,000 Doge checks, tariff checks and everything. There are no checks coming.
Yeah, no.
So it's like somebody inside the administration had to say, stop this.
Yeah.
Stop these incredible promises of giving. Remember, it was a $5,000 Doge check.
Yep.
$5,000 to everybody.
You can't do that.
We are now saving $4 billion a day, $1.5 trillion a year.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's $150 billion. Then it's like, well, but we're going to put some back, so maybe only $100 billion. Not that isn't at least progress, but it's not nearly what they said. And then when it comes to, well, transferring that over to the entire budget, will we actually be cutting anything? Mm-hmm. There seems to be no interest in doing that, except maybe for Chip Roy and a couple of other members of Congress, Republicans in Congress. No Democrat wishes to do it.
Right.
And to me, it was like, wow, that was really a waste of a significant period of time of getting the what I call attention capital. you're getting the attention of the American public, and it's just massive. And every single day, so this is ridiculous. Well, golly, we're going to be able to cut here. We're actually going to be, and then nothing.
Yeah.
That tremendous amount of capital wasted on Doge if they don't follow through on it.
And I suspect they won't.
The other thing is, and this is just a weird story, and I'm like, don't create your own problem. Trump confirmed that Qatar is offering to give the United States a luxury Boeing 747 jet free of charge, which will temporarily replace Air Force One. Trump writes on Truth Social, so the fact that the Defense Department is getting a gift free of charge of a 747 to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One temporarily in a very public and transparent transaction so bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. Trump said, anybody can do that. The Dems are world-class losers. MAGA. Why create your own problem?
Yeah.
Why create a problem you don't have to create?
Right.
And it's as transparent as you can possibly see. I mean, I was reading on it over the weekend. They went through all the legalities of it and everything else about whether, he could do that or not. It went, and it's like, well, yeah, you could do it. And as long as before the end of your term, you give it to the presidential library, your presidential library, then, you're safe. But it doesn't matter. It's the perception of why does the United States have to get for Air Force One a gift from another country?
Right.
You don't want that, number one. Number two, it is, even if it isn't, and I don't believe it isn't because it's been extremely transparent and they've gone through all the legalities, the perception that you can be bought is as bad as being bought.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of things that I think a lot of people understand. I think hopefully the majority of people understand when it comes to things that we logistically and also financially as a nation should always be able to afford. But one of those is the transportation, which is also great protection during that transportation of the president, any president. And this idea, and I understand you have an aging plane and something needs to be done. It's, handling it internally is not going to bring about any issues for you, however that is done. If Qatar needs to, feels they need to, buy some goodwill from this administration or the U.S. in general, I get that play. But again, and I don't think there's any great concern with it other than, well, why can't we do it ourselves? Yeah, as you say, why create a problem that isn't there? Why turn the whole Air Force One thing into a political football?
Yeah, because of course, from what I can see, it's totally constitutional. There is no problem. They're giving it as a gift to the United States government for the president to use, and everything else on the condition that it later be donated to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation. All great.
Yeah.
It's the perception of why.
Yeah.
We know that it's not, wouldn't be legally a trip to Trump personally, but he would benefit from what they call the flying palace.
Yeah, well,
if you got it, would have to be a lot of it would have to be gutted and redone completely to make it.
No, I think actually that's one of the first things they have to do.
Yeah. So I mean, there is going to be money that's involved in doing it. So again, in other countries, have given us gifts before, but again, it is the perception that can be used from the media to just incessantly pound on that in any deal that you make in the Middle East at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
And so that would be the challenge. It's unnecessarily creating something that the liberals can pound on for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And anything that you do concerning the Middle East. Well, he did it because he got the jumbo jet. Well, he did it because he got the luxury. You know, Trump, he lives in luxury, is rich, and wishes to live in luxury. We know what the left would do on it.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter whether it's legit or look, they'll lie about anything, as we know.
Yeah.
The borders are secure.
Right.
Joe Biden he's wonderful. He's just absolutely the best Joe Biden you've ever seen in your life. There's no Joe Biden ever better than this Joe. So it doesn't matter whether it's the truth or not. It's whether it can be used effectively against you and whether it's something that you don't need to do to create unnecessary public relations clutter.
Yeah. Right.
Now, the White House has said they have not decided what they're going to do on it yet.
Right.
We know the offer has been made. As of last night, the White House has not decided. So we'll see. Be interesting to see what the polling would be on something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be. Speaking of donating.
Yes.
Bill Gates is not giving me a dime. And I'm highly upset about that.
Well, who's he giving the money to now?
I don't know. It's going to be all given away to charity over the next 20 years. That's the pledge. Look.
Will I get some? All I want is what's coming to me. All I want is my fair share.
If he could donate a couple of computers for our studios, I'd be happy. Anything. Anything you can do on that, Bill?
With the modern Windows? Or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we get, I don't know. We could even go back to Windows 98. Might be better. Yeah.
What are we on now?
Windows 7.
We're on Windows 7. How long ago was that? When was the last update for Windows 7? We're being serious. We're actually on Windows 7 in our studio.
Yeah, we are. I don't know the last update, but there aren't any more. We've reached the end of that tunnel.
And what is it, Windows 11 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Windows 11 is on
right.
now. We're still on Windows 7.
Yeah.
No, we cannot update our computer to Windows 8.
No.
We can't do it.
No, we can't.
We can't.
We can't. We can't update anything, actually.
It's like we're living in the 1850s.
Well, that's what I feel like. I feel like I should hear a horse coming by. And I Google something.
Hold it. Wait a minute. The Pony Express is here.
Yeah.
Somebody go get the mail.
They've got my Google results. Getting my Google results via Pony Express.
You can get us at Eric and Gary at AOL.com.
Yeah. Right. We have we have AI, but it stands for Ancient Intelligence.
Hold it. Let me send you a message.
Yeah. ... Stop.
Hold it. Look. See, Boy Scouts, remember?
Yeah.
Semaphore?
Yeah.
I got the flags.
Yeah. This just in, breaking news. Stop. Makes me want to just talk the way they used to talk. This end, just breaking news. Stop. We have something from the Wall Street Journal. Stop. Let's check the weather forecast. Please stop.
When did that stop in movies?
Yeah, I don't know. 18...
The telegram.
1880?
No, it's like the telegram.
Oh, my gosh.
When did people stop sending telegrams? That's a great...
I don't know, but it's getting so bad. I'm using whiteout on the computer screen to correct things. That's how bad it's getting. Yeah. I'll just blank that part out.
Okay, let me see.
Mm-hmm.
The era of telegrams officially ended when Western Union, the largest telegraph company in the United States, stopped sending telegrams on January 27th, this is later than I thought, 2006.
Our computers are older.
Well, when Western Union service ended, other telegram companies like International Telegram Companies still operate, and many countries around the world have also discontinued their national telegram services.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Once a rapid and cost-effective means of communication began to decline in popularity with the rise of the telephone.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, some of you youngins out there talking about the telephone, someday we'll tell you about a party line.
Yeah. What was that song, Telephone Killed the Telegraph Star, or something like that? I don't know.
Windows 7 killed the telegraph.
Yeah,
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by Howes Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
What might weather look like where you are at this month and the summer months? USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey offers an outlook, including:
we are watching the western and central U.S. for the possibility of drought expansion or intensification. We do expect consistently hot conditions along and west of a line from Montana to the southern plains. Heat could contribute to an active western wildfire season.
As for the eastern half of the nation,
long-range forecast tools have been consistent in showing wetness developing in the eastern U.S. even before the start of hurricane season.
Rippey says the Rockies is the apparent dividing line between hotter weather in the west, cooler to the east.
That implies we could have more of a northwesterly flow coming into the upper Midwest, but that's not necessarily a good thing in terms of rainfall because it cuts off that Gulf and Atlantic moisture from reaching up into that region. So a little concerned that it could be a cool drought in places like the Dakotas this summer.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. All right, the Department of Homeland Security, Eric, announced that the ACLU dropped its lawsuit alleging the department unlawfully deported a U.S. citizen child along with the child's mother. In an announcement Saturday, the Department of Homeland Security referred to the suit as baseless lawfare, which it was.
Yeah.
They did it to get publicity.
Yep.
Maybe with all the ACLU commercials I see that do not tell the truth, by the way, that you see, they're basically short form infomercials.
Right. Yeah.
You see that a lot on streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe, okay, that's why they did it, so they can help promote to keep their fundraising going.
Yeah. Right. Get some attention.
Right.
Try and be relevant.
Because when they say, especially when they do that commercial where they say that, voting rights are being lessened in this country.
Right.
That's not true.
That's a lie.
It's not even close to being true whatsoever.
Yep.
And if they say, I don't know if they say women's right in the one commercial I saw, but if they say women's right, remember, what does women's rights mean in 2025?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Men's rights is what it means.
What does the left consider
Right.
to be women's rights?
Women's rights in 2025 mean men's rights.
Yeah, whatever the men dictate.
Why not?
Yeah.
Racism, anti-racism means racism.
Right. Yep.
So why can't women's rights be men's rights?
Right. Yeah. That's what's going on.
They'd be crazy.
They live the life. They walk the walk. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. Red Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Well, it is time for the idiocy from my Congresswoman,
All right.
Jasmine Crockett.
All right.
See what she
We
said.
almost got through an entire show.
Nah, I mean, it's almost every day now. I think she wants to be in the news every single day.
Yeah.
She told the interview that she did, there was a promotional clip where she said that the party is eyeing the, quote, safe white boy, end of quote, candidate for 2028. There you go.
All right.
It's a fear that within the people within the party, within the primary system, that every time we put a woman up, we've lost. And so they want a safe white boy.
Huh.
Now, they didn't talk about the fact that the two women who they put up, Hillary Clinton
Yeah.
and Kamala Harris,
Yeah.
did they lose because they were women?
No. Nope. In fact, Kamala Harris, when she first ran in for the 2020 primary and didn't quite make it to 2020, her own party rejected her.
And she called them
Racist
and sexist.
And sexist.
Yep. I just wonder why, because if there's a Republican that's, threw out and said that the Republican Party was racist, they'd be attacked. You and I've been following this for a long time, and we're always amazed when Democrats come. At times, they don't even realize it. Like when Harris did it before we even got to the first primary, because I think it was December of 19, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
December
3rd.
December 3rd of 19, before even close to the first primary, she dropped out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how terrible her polls, were doing.
Right.
And so Jasmine Crockett believes, okay, that was racist and sexist.
Yeah.
Understand that the radical left, which is now the left, which is now the Democratic Party,
Yeah.
they believe that the people that even vote for them, that loyal Democrats, are racist and sexist.
Yeah.
We find, I don't know why, but we find that beautiful.
It is. Well, again, they continue to go after people that that either vote for their party or they want as ultimately as their constituents. Obama did it. The people in Pennsylvania clinging to their God and their guns.
Yeah.
You've seen it with Tim Walz.
Oh,
I could beat those guys up. Yeah, Mr. Jazz Hands.
they just don't like. Republicans cannot handle my new form of masculinity.
Right. Yeah.
My unique form, but better form
That's
of
right.
masculinity.
Right. Yeah, I'm too masculine for them.
And
Yeah, right, Tim. That's the problem.
and I was made vice president because I could talk football.
I was the permission structure
Yes. And I was the permission structure
for the guys that
for
were
white
watching
men.
football and working on their trucks.
Right. Maybe drinking a beer,
Yeah.
but not a light beer.
Right. No, it's actual beer, full-bodied beer, and eating raw steak.
A full-bodied beer.
Yeah. Not using Band-Aids when they get a cut,
I was the permission.
Yeah.
What was it again? Permission, not
Permission
slip.
structure.
Oh, permission structure.
Yeah.
I was the permission structure for white men to vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Then the next sentence. It really didn't work.
Yeah. It throws her totally under the bus. Doesn't
work.
even understand. And he also doesn't understand that very few macho guys use the words permission structure.
Right. That's
to describe anything,
including themselves,
That's
because he was
right.
describing himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm Gary McNamara, and I'm your permission structure.
I'm the permission structure for guys that watch football and are working on their trucks. You kidding me? How about you buy a reliable truck? Here's the How about you earn enough to pay somebody else to do it? What I'm saying is, the party has just become weird.
Well,
There's really
yeah.
no other way to describe it.
I don't know how Trump eventually resolves, the whole trade thing. But when over the weekend, and we started the show this way.
Yeah.
Because really, when you just look at the broad picture, well, it was a half an hour into the show.
Yeah.
When you look at the broad picture out there, just looking at this weekend, and you see where the Republicans are and where the Democrats are. Mm-hmm. And when on the issues to begin with, and when you see the Democrat infighting right now, and you see who's leading the party, when you see that the voices really out there are Jasmine Crockett, Bernie Sanders, and AOC. Still today, that's who it is.
Yeah.
That's who people are paying attention to. And you realize the insane things that they're promoting. And you look at the Republicans like, don't you see this?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Republicans in Congress and even the White House.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you see this? Don't you see that you can just destroy these people politically for a significant period of time? Just have a crystal clear message and stick to it.
Yep.
But if you can't do things in Congress, and if the White House isn't going to promote getting rid of things like the infrastructure bill, because if you can't get rid of that, you can't get rid of anything. And if you're going to promote DOGE and the cutting and efficiency, and none of that appears in your next budget at all, to show that any progress was made by everything that you were bragging about, what good are you?
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of good coming out
Well,
of the administration.
what sets you apart?
Yeah, what sets you apart from a Democrat fiscally? I did see somebody. I did see a cartoon out there over the weekend, and it showed it was like Trump and Vance, and they were like, "Hey, we're your socially conservative we're your socially conservative people." Then the next one it says, "And we're your liberal fiscal socialists."
Yeah, exactly.
And it was, but if you maybe it was Trump and Mike Johnson. That's who it was. It was a caricature of Trump and Mike Johnson.
Right.
And when you look at everything that's going on now, and it's like, is it a coincidence that everything went quiet on Doge? That Elon Musk is gone, everything went quiet, nobody's talking about it. You were going to get $5,000 checks, the Doge dividend, everyone's going to get one. Trillions of dollars being cut. Last I heard was $150 billion, then that was going to be cut down to maybe $100 billion. You mean Elon Musk was off by a factor of 10?
Yeah, right.
These are the things that they promoted. We're not adding anything or subtracting anything. It's what they promoted they were going to do.
And in the end, I suspect it will be no cuts, no real cuts at all.
Right.
We're going to spend more.
You don't hear a word about overall cuts. Not the 160. Well, we found 160 billion in cuts here.
Now,
that we
what
can
are
do.
you hearing more of here in recent days? It's been about the taxes.
The tax cuts
where
right.
the tax rate's going to be. Are we going to be able to extend the tax cuts? And again, you have to do that. You also have to pay for it.
Well, they've quieted down on overselling anything. Remember, it was the perfect microcosm of that. Was everybody holding the Jeffrey Epstein file thing?
Yeah.
That was, you want a microcosm. You want an example of what we said, and they're waving up and down like, this is going to be great. And then nothing was there.
Right.
You had Trump supporters that were livid over that.
Right.
What the hell are you doing? You're over, so like, we got him after all of this, that we're going to get transparency, and there was a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe I used that word.
Well, it's again, it's not even under delivering. It's you already pre-delivered. It was stuff we already knew.
Yeah, exactly. And the big to-do about it. And you don't see that as much now. Now, you do see it a little bit on, all right, we got a great trade deal coming up. It's like,
Right.
well, it's not really a trade deal. It's
a pause in the tariffs
Yeah,
while we look for a trade deal.
right, exactly.
Yeah. And that's, the problem is that, which again goes back to what can you get done on Capitol Hill?
I said it yesterday to people that I met. Then we were talking about talk radio, and we're just talking about general. And I just said one of the things that always gets me is that as a conservative, you never have to lie, you never have to exaggerate, you never have to overpromise and underdeliver.
Right.
You can sell conservatism to the American public. You can do it, and you can do it effectively. And when you don't do it, when you hype something to the point every single day, it was incredible. The riches we're going to have because of Doge, and then it goes completely quiet.
Yeah.
And I know it's tough for Republicans to hear, but you know that's the truth.
Yeah.
You know that's the truth. And it's not good when they do it. And like I said, that example was because what you really understand, many of you that were looking for and saying that whole Jeffrey Epstein was the microcosm of what was wrong with the government because they're hiding everything. And so the Republicans come in, they're waving the folders. There's all the excitement. It's like, well, there's nothing. What are you doing? Why are you waving it? Listen, there's something incredible here.
Yeah.
We already knew all this stuff. What's up?
Well,
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing it? Why are you hyping something that you know you can't deliver 10 minutes later?
Yeah, it's bizarre. And when you do that with things like tax cuts or you start promoting a $5,000 check, you get people's attention.
Yep.
The Epstein files maybe didn't get everybody's attention. When you start talking about writing checks to people,
Yeah.
everybody's looking at that going, oh. Then you go through tax season, and it's like, okay, well, maybe it's not going to happen now. Well, what's next? When is that going to happen? And the fact that you can't roll back the Inflation Reduction Act.
Well, you heard it twice. $5,000 for the tariff dividend and $5,000 for the Doge dividend.
Mm-hmm.
None of that is going to happen.
No.
Then why the hell were you opening your mouth and talking about it?
Because when you do that, then people are at, this time next year, hey, what happened to that $5,000 I was going to get? Where's the money that they were talking about?
Yeah.
Don't create something that's unnecessary.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. This came out Friday night that an early version of the House GOP's tax bill would cost nearly $5 trillion, according to the new estimate from the joint, what do they call it? The Congress's nonpartisan tax scorekeeper, not the CBO, but the joint tax group out there. Right. And none of this includes what the president wants in all of his provisions. And by the way, the House Republican approved budget allows for $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. Scoring it, it's going to cost $5 trillion, is what they say. The partial tax proposal released by the Ways and Means late Friday would make permanent the individual income tax rates, which are otherwise due to expire at the end of the year. It would extend and temporarily boost far-reaching tax credits like the standard deduction and the child tax credit. But the so-called early version of this bill is otherwise silent on Trump's biggest tax priorities, like eliminating taxes on tips, also bars no mention of the expensive business provisions that Republicans want to restore. The tax plan does not at this point include any mention of the state and local tax deduction prized by blue state Republicans in swing districts. And so you wonder when you see if it doesn't include it, and it's already at $5 trillion, and the limit's $4.5 trillion. They're supposed to release the final version today.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be scored. We'll see where it goes. I don't have any confidence that there are going to be any cuts. So I don't know what happens then.
Wrote the Committee for a Responsible Budget on Saturday evening. The deficit impact of the bill is well beyond Ways and Means' allowable increase of $4 to $4.5 trillion. So lawmakers will either need to make adjustments, including offsets, or both.
Wow. I guess we'll find out.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.